Imagine you spent months perfecting your resume. You tweaked every word, Googled every right buzzword, and you asked ChatGPT to make your resume sound even more professional. And then you hit send and hear nothing back. Not a rejection, not a response, just nothing. But there's a decent chance a machine read it, compared it to other resumes written by the same machine, and quietly moved on. New research accepted at two major AI conferences in 2025 ran a controlled experiment across every major AI screening model: GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, and DeepSeek. Same job, same specifications, and same content. The only variable was whether the resume was written by a person or written by the AI doing the screening. 67 to 82% of the time, the AI chose itself. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gen Z EO Playbook podcast. I'm Ryan Ali, and today I want to stop and think out loud. Because over the last 10 months, I've been sitting across some of the sharpest people in the hiring and career space. And when I line up everything that they've said, there is one picture that keeps on coming into focus. It's that the game changed and most people haven't even noticed yet. So you may ask why resumes seem invisible. The average recruiter in the US has 30 to 40 open jobs to fill at any given moment. That average job attracts 250 resumes. So that recruiter has about 6 seconds. 6 seconds before they move on to the next resume. 6 seconds to decide if your months of experience, volunteering, club leadership, or your 91 average even matter. And most of the time, it doesn't land. Not because you're unqualified, but because the resume just isn't answering the question your employer is actually asking. That question isn't, who is this person? It's, can this person do this specific job starting tomorrow? Not, are they promising or do they have potential? But can they show up tomorrow and actually get the work done? Think about what this means if you're 16. You've got school, maybe a club or two, and some volunteer hours. So you open up ChatGPT and generate something that looks professional, organized, coordinated, and clean, but those bullet points don't answer your employer's question. So here's a concrete way to feel about this. I asked Andre Corte live on air to look at a live ChatGPT generated resume for a 16-year-old with 30 hours of volunteering, a club leadership role, 91 average. And his reaction was immediate. It was too generic, with meaningless bullet points, no numbers, no results, and no proof that anything actually happened. And that's the gap. We treat resumes like documents, and so employers will obviously read them like ads, and a generic ad will always get scrolled past. The proof over promise playbook. Steal this. Step 1. Name the proof, not the potential. Passionate about leadership is a claim, but ran a 30% fundraiser that raised $3,400 in 6 weeks is evidence. The employer doesn't owe you the benefit of the doubt, so give them something they don't actually have to guess at. Step 2. Front load the answer to the actual worry. Ask yourself, what is this specific employer nervous about when they look at my age, my experience, and my background? Then address that worry directly in the first 2 lines, not your entire story. And step 3, add the number. Organized club meetings is nothing, but organized 14 club meetings over 2 semesters and grew attendance by 40% is proof for your employer. The number is the move most people and most AI tools skip by default, but it's also the move that makes a resume impossible to skip past. The job market doesn't reward effort, it rewards relevance. But that might be uncomfortable, but relevance is learnable. The AI trap, who the system actually favors. So you've heard the advice. Use AI to help you with your resume, run it through ChatGPT, and make it sound polished. But here's the problem with that advice in 2026. The same research I started the episode off with, researchers Xu Li and Zhang, didn't just find that the AI screeners prefer AI resumes in general, they found something even more specific. Each model prefers resumes written by the exact same model. GPT-4o prefers GPT-4o resumes. Claude prefers Claude resumes. The bias isn't just AI over human, it's me over everyone else. Candidates whose resumes were generated by the same AI the employer used to screen were 23 to 60% more likely to be shortlisted than equally qualified humans. The largest disadvantages showed up in sales and accounting roles. Now, I want to hold that finding next to something Andre told me. He said, AI-generated resumes tend to be called impressive but empty. The language sounds polished and professional, but recruiters have read thousands of them so that it can easily spot a generic one instantly. There's a phrase that comes up again and again in AI written resumes: results-driven professional with a proven track record of delivering innovative solutions. That sentence is nothing. It's just a filler dressed as substance. So here's the actual trap. If you write your resume yourself without AI, the machine screening it deprioritizes you because it prefers its own voice. But if you paste your info straight into ChatGPT and send it what it gives you, the human recruiter who actually reads it sees it as generic language and just skips on to the next one. So you're being screened out at both layers. That's not a skills problem, that's a structural problem. And the reason it's not being talked about is that most AI fairness audits checked for bias based on race, gender, and age. But none of them actually check whether the screener prefers its own outputs. That blind spot is now documented, but most companies running these screening tools still do not know they exist. The same research shows this self-preference bias drops by more than 50% with targeted interventions. So it is fixable, but only if the people running the system know that this problem exists. We as applicants don't control that part, but what we do control is how we move through the system. Alright, mini timeout. If this episode is giving you ideas, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free, it helps out a ton, and it means you're officially part of the community. So this is the dual pass framework that you can steal as well. Step 1. Use AI for the structure, but make sure you use your own voice. Generate the skeleton with AI with sections, format, and rough bullet points, but then rewrite every single bullet point in your own words with your own specifications. The architecture is AI assisted, but the content is irreplaceably yours. Step 2. Test for specifics before you send. So for example, manage a team becomes led a 5-person team that shipped a feature used by over 200 students in its first week. Step 3. Personalize for each application. A resume written for every job is written for no job. The first 2 lines should answer the exact question your employer is asking. Not any employer, but that specific job employer. The distribution play. The game after the resume. So I want to zoom out now because there is a bigger shift happening underneath all of this. Prags, who's been running Pangea for nearly 10 years, has watched the talent market shift in ways most people haven't even seen up close. And he said something that stopped me in my tracks. He said, if the cost of building is gone to zero, then what's left is distribution. And he's right, because the tools exist today to build almost anything for nearly free. AI writes code, AI designs, and AI ships. The thing you build is no longer the differentiator. So who knows you built it is the differentiator. And the most defensible position in the next decade isn't a certification, but it's your ability to connect with humans, communicate with clarity, and build a reputation that compounds, so that by the time you're 21, opportunities are already looking for you. We were told to build skills so that we could earn jobs, but the actual game now is to build a reputation so that jobs become the byproduct. The compound reputation framework. Steal this. Step 1. Ship something visible every week. Not a finished product, but maybe a post you learned, or a breakdown of a founder you studied, a small product you shipped. It doesn't matter, but the constraint is it has to be public. Private learning doesn't compound, but public output does. Step 2. Connect with someone before you need anything. If you reach out when you only want a job, you become a stranger. But if you've been in their circle or like their orbit for 6 months, commenting, engaging, and showing up, you're a familiar face. So make sure to network before the need exists, because that's when it actually works. Step 3. Quantify everything always. I started a podcast as a hobby, but I've published 30 episodes and reached 2,000 listeners in 8 months is a fact. The numbers turn your story into evidence, so make sure to document them as they become your signal in a system full of noise. So here are 3 things that you can do this week. Not eventually, but this week. Move 1. The proof audit. Pull up your resume, your LinkedIn, whatever you're using to present yourself right now, and go through every bullet point and ask, is this a claim or a proof? Strong communicator. Claim. Led a team of 5 that delivered a school fundraiser ahead of schedule, raising $4,200 is a proof. Anything that's still a claim, either cut it or replace it with a story and a number. 1 sitting, 1 hour. It completely changes everything about how someone sees you. Move 2. The dual pass test. Before you send out your next application, run it through 2 questions. 1. Does this read like it was written for the specific job or for any job? 2. Does this sound like me, or does it sound like a template 1,000 other people are also waiting to send? If the answer to either is not sure, it's not ready. Personalization is the one move AI cannot replace for you. And move 3. The public ledger. Pick a platform. LinkedIn, a newsletter, YouTube, GitHub, GitHub, it doesn't matter. But commit to publishing something every single day or every week for the next 90 days. One post, one project update, one breakdown. The point isn't reach right now. The point is that you're building a digital trail that compounds for you. And that in 5 years, when an agent or a recruiter or an investor looks you up, there's actually something there. So start now, and while it doesn't have to be good, it will be good by the time you need it to be. So here's where I keep landing after 10 months of these conversations. The hiring game was always harder than anyone officially admitted, but what's happening right now is different. It's structural. The AI screener, the collapsing value of generic credentials, the rise of a digital reputation as actual currency, the agent-to-agent economy Prague sees coming. None of this was true 5 years ago, but all of it is true now, which creates a strange window for us. The old gatekeepers are confused, the old rules are breaking, and the tools to build something real and visible are cheaper than they've ever been. And people who start moving now, who build proof, who build reputation, who understand the actual mechanics of how they're being evaluated, they'll end up on the other side of this in a completely different position than the people who don't. This system isn't going to be fair by the time you need it to be. That's not pessimism, that's just accuracy. So the move is to build something the system can't ignore, and that's your playbook. So if this episode shifted anything for you, subscribe to the Gen CEO Playbook podcast wherever you listen. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the one thing you're going to start implementing this week? Don't worry, as I'm going to read every single comment. Once again, I'm Ryan Ali. This is the Gen CEO Playbook podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.